Raider Nation, what is going on? Coming to you guys with episode 132. An ugly win. Don't get me wrong. It was an ugly game. Ugly win. We pulled it off. Just one, baby. That's all that matters. There was no playoff implications to this game. While we were watching it, not really sure. I guess we'll get into that. But obviously, I think going into the offseason with a win, some of our young guys like Brian Edwards having a big game. Henry Ruggs getting some catches. Hopefully he's okay, by the way, however that ended up. Darren Waller setting a record. Having our younger pieces, Josh Jacobs having a big touchdown, having our younger pieces like that, our weapons, our core of our offense, having a big game kind of, in some sense, having a win, producing, everyone kind of getting their hands on the ball and contributing to a win is going to be huge for us going into the offseason. 8-8 is a lot better than 7-9. I'm not going to come out here and say it's been a huge improvement, but I will say the offense did take a step up, I'd say big time from last year. Now it's just coming back down to this defense. I came out and I said, after that 2-point conversion, I came out and said, hey, just one. I was pumped. Not realizing there's, that amount of time on the clock, which every other football team you should be able to chalk it up as a win. But for us and our defense, you never know how that's going to end up. And sure enough, it was really freaking close. It came down to a blocked field goal. So, man, episode 132 to wrap up our season. Definitely bittersweet. I'm getting tired of wrapping up my final post-game shows in the regular season. We're looking for postseason here. That's really the only thing that matters, and that's the only way I see things being successful. But that's, kind of what we're dealing with. Shout out to those that have been in Las Vegas at all this season during the football season, watching any Raider games at Stage Door Casino. Stage Door Casino is always the go-to spot for me. We're going to make it a regular thing next year. We're going to plan probably like 4 major games during the 2021 season to go down there and do watch parties. So at some point, whenever the schedule comes out, I'll sit down with John from Stage Door, my guy Kenny King Jr., and we'll kind of decide, what games best fit, I guess, Raider Nation's schedule and what's the best time to have a watch party in Las Vegas. So shout out to Stage Door Casino, who also won multiple Best of Las Vegas awards, one of them being Best Sports Bar. And that's, credit to us. Shout out to Raider Nation. And I think we're what makes that place so great. Also, real quick, house cleaning, I guess, a little bit, as my guy Murph likes to say. Make sure you guys visit blacksundayshop.com for all your Raider gear needs. Now, let's see if we can get into this game review. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys getting in there. I'm reading your comments as we're going along. You guys are crazy. The opinions and the emotions, everything is all over the place, but I enjoy trying to keep up with all your madness in the chat. If you guys are listening to the post-produced podcast, I highly suggest you get in on the live chats. I'll probably still try and do these weekly, or if not weekly, every other week at least, through the off season. Keep the interaction up. I like, letting you guys kind of, dish it out a little bit in there. I like picking up some things that you guys have to say. So opening up this game review, it's been the same song and dance like the last 3 or 4 games now for us. What is it, like 4 straight games? We've opened up the game with a 3 and out. So same thing today, run stuffed. Then there was this weird defensive pass interference that was missed. Shocker. It was kind of a regular thing throughout the entire game. So 3 and out, punt. Like I said, that's 4 games. Inexcusable. Yeah, the offense has been the strong point, but in the red zone and, of course, opening up games like this, it's been frustrating. So then the Broncos get the ball. They march down the field. They get inside the 5. Our defense pulls the bend, don't break thing, right? They save it. They hold them to a field goal. We go down 0-3. No big deal. Raiders get the ball. Run game is still struggling, and that's kind of part of the offense where I said, it's been the backbone, I would say, to this football team, but there's just so many little wrinkles in it that we need to polish up and get better. And one of them is the run game. Luckily, Josh Jacobs came out with a couple big runs towards the end of the game, but that doesn't really ignore the fact that the last 4 or 5 have definitely been suspect. Watching Josh drop from like the 3rd and 4th ranked rusher down to being like 7th or something now, I think, is how he's ending the year, isn't good. We want to see these guys pick it up and play better the second half of the season than they do the first, but That's another topic for another day, and that's what we're going to be covering this entire offseason. Derek comes out, he connects on a deep shot to Nelson Agholor, and I would say that was one of those plays where it should have been probably a touchdown. It was kind of weird. I felt like maybe Nelson misjudged a hair off, and it was a hair. The ball was coming maybe a little bit more to the inside than he wanted it to be. So it's better safe than sorry. Better for him to kind of just go down, I guess, and get the catch, the for sure catch, which actually set up. Kind of sucks because it set up for him to go out and get a touchdown wide open. But there was this pick set. You guys probably saw it. Offensive pass interference. That would be Zay Jones. Came across the middle. Clocked a dude that was kind of already lost anyways. Very bad penalty. That knocked us out. Had some screenplay blown up. Run game was still getting stuffed back there and held us to a field goal, 3-3. That was a drive where we should have scored, and that's kind of the frustrating part of this offense. But, hey, whatever, we put points on the board. That seems to be the freaking norm this season is we can't seem to put up 7, but we're putting up 3 consistently. Shout out to Daniel Carlson, too, which I think broke Janikowski's record, right, for Raiders all-time leading scorer in a single season. So shout out to Daniel Carlson. At least we got a good one and a field goal kicker. He had that shaky year. We're kind of wondering how he was going to be, and then he pulled back out, switched to number 2, and started kicking some good field goals. So Broncos come back out with their second drive, and at this point, Arnett had still been on the sideline. So I think by about the middle of this drive, the second drive, he finally got back on the field. And maybe it was a little punishment for last week. I don't know. I see someone in the chat, Jesse Ruiz, host a watch party in the Central Valley, Fresno area. I wanted to. Our plan was to do it the second half of the season sometime, and I planned on doing something in Fresno, actually. We're looking at Doghouse Grill. If you guys are in Fresno, if you're familiar with Doghouse Grill, I was looking there, talked to the owner and everything. But with just the capacity and the regulations going on with COVID, it wasn't a smart time to do it. But next year, I definitely am going to have that, still in the bag of tricks because I definitely want to do one in Fresno. We did one here in Tulare a few weeks ago with a place that was, mostly open, I guess you could say, more than Fresno. Fresno dropped down to like 25% capacity, and it was really, really hard to be able to get Raider Nation in there. But shout out to the chat. Anyone that super chats anything, I'll definitely give you a shout out. Hopefully I don't miss it. I try and keep up as much as possible. But Mike in the chat says, any chance Agholor resigns? I hope so. I absolutely hope so. That's kind of, I guess, top of my priority list. Number 1, bring back Nelson Agholor, and we saw his effect today. We absolutely need to have Nelson Agholor back on this football team, and hopefully we don't pull, everyone's going to kind of, one thing that's going to be tossed around is fans are going to talk about Allen Robinson. And it's not as nice as it would be to have Allen Robinson. I think just the dollar amount's just going to be way too much. When he's making over probably $20 million a year is probably the contract Allen Robinson has earned. Nelson Agholor, even though it's probably going to be a little steeper than Raider fans are wanting, I see it low being 12 mil, but I see it maybe being like a $15 million contract per year. So I see maybe like a 3-year, $45 million contract for Nelson Agholor. If I could just, round about something off my head. Some people might think he's a little high, but you know what? You got to pay for a guy that's, going to go out there and be a true starting wide receiver. And he earned a contract. If we don't pay it, he's obviously going to kind of test free agency a little bit. And we're going to have that chance, but people are going to, be making that happen. I see you, Raider Mike, in there. Raider watch party in Pismo Beach. I'd be totally down for that. Pismo's like my second home. Me and my wife love going down there. Hey, maybe we do. We'll see. Maybe we do a Pismo watch party. I don't know how many Pismo Beach or 805 Raider Nation there is here, but I'd be down for Pismo. So Pismo, Fresno, and of course Las Vegas next year watch parties. Broncos drive down, wide open, tight end in the back of the end zone, touchdown. We go into the second quarter down 3-10. We get a ball to Waller. He fumbles it. Crap. Okay, so we're starting the turnover thing. Not good. Okay, so Broncos get the ball back. Whoop. Someone's calling me here. Broncos get the ball back. Arnett made a couple nice tackles. Worley comes in with a big pass breakup. And luckily that interception came up. We got lucky, right? So after the that fumble recovery, we put them in a position to where they could have probably scored more points, but we held them to a field goal. Worst case scenario, didn't happen. So Raiders get the ball back, and we take we get ourselves in a situation where we can take a shot in the end zone, and bam, we do. Derek throws a dime to Darren Waller. Shout out to Darren Waller again, breaking the single season reception record for the Raiders, and that's awesome being a tight end. A lot of people are going to kind of have that idea like, oh, it's kind of goofy that it's a tight end and not a wide receiver that's doing this. But hey, for whatever reason, Derek and his tight ends really connect. We saw what he did with Jared Cook, having Darren Waller out there, which is basically a wide receiver. I don't care who it's going to. If you got a player on that team that's producing at that high a volume, so be it. I'm cool with it being a tight end. Now, Broncos go, and they get pinned into like a 3rd and 11 situation. And of course they come away with a first down. That's kind of where the offense of their end kind of started to get ticking a little bit, right? They're having this guy, Tyree Cleveland, who had, I couldn't even tell you, like 50 plus yards or something stupid. I don't even know who he is. He only had like 18 yards in the entire season. He's played like 9 games, and the most he's ever had is like 11 yards in a game. It's like 11 and 7 yards or something in 2 games. It's ridiculous. But of course he's carving us up a little bit. So we stopped them. That drive, we stopped. It was actually a turnover on downs. So we stopped. I think we actually tackled that Tyree Cleveland short. I got things going. Let's see. Is that a Woodson jersey or Abram? This is absolutely Charles Woodson. I'm not sure even if Abram really kind of flips things around and becomes one of our better secondary players even in history, it's going to be hard for me to replace. I even love Marshawn Lynch, and I couldn't get to myself to even buy a Marshawn Lynch jersey. And that'd probably be the next closest person in a 24 that I could buy. But Charles Woodson being my favorite player of all time, I think I got to stick with him in number 24. So we get the ball back, and Henry Ruggs started getting some action. That was nice to see him get a few targets. What, he got like 3 or 4 targets, I think, throughout the game. Josh Jacobs had a nice little, possession. Had a chance to go for it, fumbled it. It was kind of like a pretty scary fumble, too. It got out in front of him a few yards. He broke off this tackler and still dove and got the ball back. Then we take another deep shot to Nelson Aguilar, and slightly underthrown. This is one of the controversial throws of the game. And had it been if we lost the game, this would be a lot more controversial throw. But luckily we won, so it's going to be something that gets pretty much brushed under the table. Little short, little underthrown. Yeah, that happens. Still catchable ball. Both things can be true. I'm not going to sit here and argue whose fault it was. I'm not going to say it was Derek's fault, should have made a touchdown. I'm not going to say it was Nelson Aguilar's fault, should have caught it. Both of them. That's the game of football, ultimate team sport. Both of them are just a hair off. Both of them made slight mistakes. That obviously, didn't bode well for us. There was like a defensive pass interference flag too on it, which I thought could have been defensive pass interference. Had they not thrown the flag, I would have just probably brushed it off. But the fact that they picked it up is super weird to me. The fact that they picked up the flag that should have been a penalty is super weird to me. But is what it is. We end up punting, whatever. We get them pinned inside the 5. And then this is kind of where the Broncos offense started to sputter just a little bit. They failed to convert on that 4th down just the drive before. And let's see here. Kiki in the chat. Would you rather pay Nelly 10 to 15 or use that on defense? I think we'd have room for both. I think you kind of need to be able to use Tyrell Williams' money in the Nelson Aguilar deal because I don't really see you paying them both. And you kind of just start to nick away some of those contracts. Is Richie Incognito guy that's going to want to come back? Is Trent Brown going to be a Raider next year? All these different questions that are going in as the unknowns. Who knows what's going to happen? Ryan Miller, thanks for the donation. Cody, not the season we wanted. I predicted we'd go 10-6 in July. Been a fan since '87 and still have faith. Never give up, Raider Nation. 2021 playoffs. Hey, I love the attitude because that's what it sucks because we say this every year. Oh, next year's our year. Next year's our year, and it sucks because most of the time I genuinely feel like next year's going to be our year, and we have some good building blocks to go off of. This late season collapse is going to kind of cover up a lot of those things. But this all comes down to John Gruden. It's weird how much people don't realize how much coaching goes into things. Look at our defense, for instance. Rod Marinelli, look, people are going to try and erase Paul Guenther because they put in Rod Marinelli and nothing changed. Rod Marinelli didn't have a chance to even change this defense if he wanted to. There's only a handful of games left. You don't have any in-person coaching with these guys. You're getting them half the time than you probably normally do. You don't get to run through plays as much. So why is he going to try and flip the entire defense around and probably get them even more confused than they already are? So all he could do was, just try and ride it out as best as he could and focus on 2021 and doing something different. Shout out to Alex Mendoza in the chat. Appreciate the donation. I didn't see a comment to it, but I'd imagine it was like a Raiders chant or something, which I would do. I'm really not. I'm excited that we won, guys. Don't get me wrong, but even watching this game, watching everything that was going on, really ugly game for the most part. Seeing a lot of those turnovers that were happening, seeing the defense still almost give the game away again. it was frustrating, and it has me kind of like in like a little funk to where I want to see what we can do this offseason. We need to make some splashes. We need to do some good on this coaching staff. We need to be able to bring in some vets to clean up the secondary and make things just a little bit more sound. And we need to be re-signing the guys that we need to re-sign, which is Nelson Aguilar, Nicholas Morrow, right? We have a few guys that are Denzel Good. Eric Harris is going to be a free agent. Do we bring him back? Maybe. I wouldn't mind it. We could use some depth. Ah, man. So we go down. Derek gets the ball back, right? Because we forced them after they sputtered. We forced them into a punt. Renfro, man, he's been like low-key a really good punt returner lately. And I don't know what it is. He kind of has like this array of spin moves. For whatever reason, he has some spins just kind of chalked up in the bag of tricks. And he got one loose a little bit, put us in some good field position. That's where we started to get some Henry Ruggs action going again. There's a stupid missed defensive pass interference on Hunter Renfro. Again, here we are. Defensive pass interference, offensive pass interference was a nightmare for us this game. This one was on Hunter Renfro, who was just short under the middle, and dude came in and just rocked him before he even got a chance to catch the ball. Whatever. I guess it's literally weird that it's almost illegal to dang near murder Hunter Renfro on the football field, and nothing's ever going to happen to anybody. Nobody throws a flag, and I guarantee this guy won't even get fined either. Our guy will get fined for whatever, but they won't. Anyway, so we get this is one of Derek's best throws, and he throws like a back shoulder dime to Brian Edwards right on the corner of the end zone. Amazing. So we go up 17-10, and then right before halftime, Broncos had every chance. They tried it, everything that they could possibly do to try and get some points on the board. They kicked like a 70-yard field goal. Reminded me of the time the Raiders tried to kick a 76-yard field goal against the Chargers, whenever that was, with Janikowski. It's like, I know Janikowski's good, but he's not that good. So they put him on for a 70-yarder. We kind of blocked it, right? Tipped it, still rolled back to Ruggs at like the 5, and he had, like one guy to miss down the sideline and could almost broke that thing for a touchdown. But we go into halftime 17-10. Like I said, ugly start. The defense started to get a couple nice stops, and in turn, it seemed nice to have the offense going out there and taking some shots down the field and converting these things. So third quarter opens up. Drew Lock's taking some shots. Stupid, ridiculous defensive pass interference on Lawson. It wasn't even close to pass interference going on the sideline. I don't know if you guys remember this. They're both kind of arm fighting. If anything, it looked like the wide receiver pushed off of Lawson, and it's somehow defensive pass interference. It was like 3rd and 10. So it was stupid. Completely stupid. So then Max comes in with a huge chase down tackle. They get some big pressure up the middle, and they blew up the 3rd down play. That was all Max Crosby basically saving that series and making them kick a field goal. We're still up 17-13. Then the Raiders get the ball back, and we come out, and our offense is getting really flat at this point. This is where our offense went through a really bad point of the game. Shout out to the moderators in the chat. I see you, Kenny King. Ivan, what's going on? Sandy Gruden. Yeah, we're going to talk about Sandy Gruden in a minute here. Kenny King. And then, so like I said, so we come out, and when this is where the offense kind of got like, it was starting to sputter. Run gets stuffed. Then there's a 3rd down sack while Derek was looking to go downfield, and then we punt. So the Broncos get the ball, stuffing the run. Lawson tackles Judy just a yard short. We're holding them down. They punt. We get the ball back, but Derek puts one out in front of Waller. Little out there and a little hot off the fingertips interception. Not saying that is Waller's fault, but how many times have we seen an interception tip off the receiver's hands, tip drill, and the defense is picking it off? It's like our luck is just completely against us. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes is leading the league in interceptable throws, but they don't get picked because I guess their luck is a little bit better than ours sometimes. Anyways, so Broncos get it, and luckily, we held him again. We got in a situation where we held him. They kicked a field goal, so we're still up 17-16, but of course things are getting sketchy. We get the ball back, double reverse to Henry Ruggs. This is where Ruggs gets hurt. Dude comes in. Cheap shot, not really. Targeting, not really. Really close. Ruggs was kind of getting low and down and had his like head kind of just tucked down, trying to make something happen. When I don't think he should have. He should have just, kind of took a cool few yards and got out of bounds. You're too small, dude, to try and take extra hits, especially when you got linebackers and safeties flying over to that side of the field at full speed, and gets rocked. Fumbles the ball, lost the fumble. Ruggs was out the rest of the game. Hopefully everything's fine with that. Cool Zay, 1995. in the chat. Says, can I get a Raiders? I'm in Denver, Colorado. In Denver, baby. Raiders. Yeah, you can get one in Denver. Shout out in enemy territory. I love it. Yes, Boogie, it was Cindy Gruden. We know. Yeah, we know. That was the commentators that messed up thinking Sandy. Whoever Sandy Gruden is. Oh, man. So they open up the fourth quarter. Broncos have the ball. They get inside the red zone. Drew Lock takes like a huge shot for a first down, gets rocked a little. Then that was actually going into the fourth quarter. So there's that fourth quarter break, comes out. Melvin Gordon pretty much breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage and walks in for a touchdown. We're down 17-24 at that point. Raiders get the ball. We take a shot to Darren Waller. Somehow was offensive pass interference. No idea how. Whenever the defender, I guess, can now plant their feet and stop right in the middle of the route and stop and take a charge. Can you take charges, I guess, in football? I guess that's a new thing. So I guess the defender can stop, plant his feet, take a charge, and it's offensive pass interference. And then Carr throws an interception. Safety made a jump on the ball. Good play on the safety. Derek should have seen the guy there. Costly interception. It happens, okay? So Broncos get the ball back after that interception. We hold them to nothing. It was amazing. Get a big sack from Nicholas Moore to come in there, and they punt the ball. Whew. Okay, so we can just kind of ignore that. Let's see where we're at here. Trying to keep up here with the chat. You guys are going after it. Keep going on. Keep talking about this game. Hey, Cody, I know you think Nelly should be resigned, and so do I. But part of me wants to see more Edwards. What do you think? Oh, absolutely. There's enough to go around. You can bring back Aguilar and still, work in Edwards and still work in Ruggs and still get these guys going. Trust me, it just opens up more options for our offense. And now it's up to Gruden to be able to work with all those weapons. So after that, Raiders get the ball back. Big throw to Waller. Josh Jacobs takes it over from there and he pounds it in for a huge touchdown. 23-23, looking good, right? Broncos get the ball. They're tackled on the return inside the 20. The penalty puts them back inside the 10. And, of course, they have a 3rd and 10 at like the 8-yard line. Blown coverage completely. There's 3 dudes that were like hitting each other on the defensive side of the ball and allowing Jerry Jeudy to be wide open 92-yard touchdown. We're not going to talk about that anymore because I'm absolutely disgusted by it, and you don't need to know my opinion on everything there. Raiders get the ball. They move the ball down the field. They get shut down. They take a sack, 3rd down, and they punt it. A lot of people didn't want them to punt it. It was 4th and 15. It's pretty sketchy. I don't know. I mean, maybe we should have went for it. Obviously, we still won the game, so that's okay. And we punted the ball 4th and 15. Broncos are running the ball at will, looking kind of scary. Max comes up with a huge, high-effort sack, puts them into a situation where it's like 2nd and long. We stop them on a couple runs, and they got a punt. Minute and 47 left. Big play Zay finally comes through. Big play Zay, man. He comes through, gets us down to the 40-yard line, big-time catch. Got himself wide open down the sideline. It was amazing. Got out of bounds, everything. Or did he get out of bounds? I think he might have just been short. No, he did get out of bounds, I think. Stop the clock. Then we get Waller, another big throw inside the 10. Then another, that was 10 more. And then another big throw to Waller, 2 throws in a row to Waller, got us inside the 15. And then Josh Jacobs goes in for the touchdown. Bam. I was really worried. That was a 4th and 1 or 4th and goal right there at the 1-yard line. I'm thinking spread it out and throw it. Luckily, we came away, and the run blocking was a lot more forgiving than it's been at certain times. You never know what you're going to get whenever we're going to show that we're running the ball, especially whenever we're out there with nobody out wide, bunch power formation. They know we're going to run it. We made things work. Then, of course, man of the day, Darren Waller goes in and gets the 2-point conversion. So, man, what game. And we won. I mean, what can you say? What can you say about this game? Not going to complain too much. All my complaints are towards the tail end of the season, this kind of late season collapse, because no offense, we should be in the playoffs right now. This defense just needed to put it together a little bit more. Offense could have been a little bit more efficient in the red zone. We could have did better. But hey, that's the cards that we were dealt, and we're going to see what we can do to build and improve on this team because we have all the building blocks there, and we're going to see where we can go from there. But to wrap up this game, of course, drop in the comments too. I want to hear what your lights out player of the game is. But for me, week 17, closing out this season, I couldn't give it to really any other guy. Shout out to my lights out player of the game. Yeah. My lights out player of the game can go to none other than the best tight end in the league, number 83, Darren Waller. coming in, dude. I mean, I was looking at this thing. I'm thinking, Derek had a great game. A couple of those turnovers were costly. Of course, Darren Waller had his fumble. That was costly. But for a dude to come in and set the franchise record like that for most receptions in a season, being a tight end, being a comeback dude that he was, being nothing about the team. Everyone always, even Derek said, you've never even seen the guy be tired. He's out there on the practice field, giving it 100% all the time, working his hardest, trying to be the best he possibly can, and overcoming pretty much everything that was against him going into the season or his entire football career. He should not have been. You go back and you look at how he entered the league and how he went those first couple years and how he went through the rehab and the drug program and all that stuff. He should not be here at this point. He overcame everything to get to this point. And be the dude that he is. And Darren Waller, man, shout out. We are not, man, what do we do to deserve you, man? I say that. I mean, we deserve all the good players because we've been through a lot, but what do we do to deserve you, number 83? And I think that's going to be my next jersey that I get here. So shout out again to Darren Waller, lights out player of the game. Whew. All right. So we're going to take this quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking to my guy. You know who it is. Kenny King Jr. So let's be right back.
Kenny King, real talk.
All right, so I should have you here. Joining me now, my brother, into the season, 16 games over with in 2020. Kenny King Jr., what's going on, man?
We're not losers anymore. I had to quote Tom Cable on that one. We're not losers anymore. That's going to be the name of my podcast. We're not losers anymore. I'm called it before you can even label yours that. I'm calling it right now.
That's gonna be your new segment for the rest of the offseason. We're not losers anymore.
No, it's still I hate y'all.
You can pull out of that and not make it your podcast, but I could still force it to be your segment. You're gonna have to come. I won't even tell you. You'll just have an image right here above your name that says we're not losers anymore.
Then my podcast name will be I Hate Y'all.
I hate y'all. Kansas City fan in the chat says we're losers still. Well, here you are listening to the Loser Podcast.
Kansas City doesn't have any quality podcasters or any YouTube channel, so that's why they come and listen to us. They want quality, so that's why they come here. I get it. I understand.
I feel it's because we're not broadcasting out of a trailer park, so it's a little bit different over here.
Exactly. The brother's not holding the antenna.
Kenny King Jr. Coming in hot on the Stage Door Casino hotline. Of course, all of our callers and guests come through the Stage Door Casino hotline, and hopefully they will be also visiting us whenever we're going to Stage Door Casino in 2021. First thing I want to talk about with you, man. There was like preseason game vibes to me watching this. I turned the game on, right? I'm sitting there on the couch.
You talking about the announcers?
I'm talking about the announcers, and I didn't know what it was at first, and I'm sitting there just watching the game. And laying on the couch, and I literally felt like I was watching I had preseason game energy. And I looked at my wife, I'm like, man, why am this is weird. I can't even put anything into it. And then it clicked. And I'm like, is that Beth Mowins?
It was Beth Mowins and Tiki Barber. I mean, look, Tiki fumbled more on this broadcast than he did in any Giants game that he's ever played. And Beth too. Just...
How many sentences
every time,
did he start? Oh, my goodness.
It was horrible. And then every time that I listened to Beth, I just pictured Drew Lock's face talking.
Oh, dude.
And I was just like, man, I couldn't do it. But then you can't turn on the radio because Brent Musburger is not much better. But I'm sitting there I'm texting you during the game. I'm like, we could do so much better than these two right now. I mean, they literally pulled out not even the JV squad. They pulled out the freshman B team to call this game. It was horrible.
It was horrible, dude. I don't really even know what to say. I wish we could set up some sort of like game broadcast where we could just sit down and give Raider opinion, because I get tired of some of these guys, especially talking about some of the calls. And gosh, they were so backwards on so many things. I saw Darren Waller catch something at like the 14-yard line, and I heard her say it was like 1st and goal. I was thrown. A Sandy Gruden. Sandy Gruden.
You had the rookie Foster Moreau.
The rookie Foster Moreau.
The rookie Foster Moreau, Sandy Gruden, Darren Walter. Darren Walter got thrown in there a couple times.
Really?
I'm surprised that they didn't call. Yeah, I heard Oakland Raiders. I'm surprised they didn't call Derek David again, or even Darren Carr for that matter.
That's right. That has happened before. That is funny. Kenny King. One big bright spot I would say for this year was, for the first time in franchise history, the Raiders have had a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 1,000-yard receiver in back-to-back seasons. That's Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller doing it back-to-back. Three-headed monster growing here a little bit, because I think that's probably the biggest building block besides what we have set in our offensive line. I feel like that's the biggest building block that we have going into next year.
Absolutely. That's guaranteed the biggest building block. You look at the offense, those are the big three. You got Derek Carr, you got Darren Waller, you got Josh Jacobs. You bring back a guy like Nelson Aguilar, that just adds more dimension to it. I think Nelson Aguilar has the tools and the capabilities of being a 1,000-yard receiver. I think Henry Ruggs, once he gets going, once the Raiders get him rolling, I think that he has the capabilities to be upwards around that 1,000 yards. He'll probably be closer to probably 6 or 7 maybe next year. But then you have Hunter Renfrow, who's still, a slot third down target, who's a guy that's going to get 50 to 60 catches a year. The only thing that I see the Raiders needing improvement on offense, obviously, is the red zone offense, and we've discussed that at length. But I think the Raiders do need some help at running back. I think I still would love to see a larger back added in. And we're going to look at the offensive line. Rodney Hudson's getting up there in age. Richie Incognito, we don't know what's going to happen to him. Trent Brown, the writing may be on the wall. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with him. And so offensively, there's not a lot of things that need to be changed, except for some of the play calling, except for some of the personnel. But, we have a good foundation and good nucleus set on that offense.
I hate to accuse anybody of anything like this, but I feel like that's kind of the point we've gotten to. But did Trent Brown wimp out and decide not to play this week? I hope not, dude.
I don't know. I mean, like
none of us do, but it's like you
never know.
Like, gosh.
The team doesn't disclose a lot of information. They shroud the diagnoses from the fans. They don't give a lot of information regarding players' injuries. We didn't know what was going on the first time, and so it's hard. You want to speculate. You want to say, well, is it really that tough? But then you see a guy like Colton Miller, who plays his rookie year through 2 messed up knees, and you have to ask yourself, what is going on? And so. Like I said, we don't know the severity of the injury. We don't know the extent of it. Watch. So, it's going to be something that comes out in a couple weeks or a couple days from now that Trent's going to have surgery or something like that. And then, everybody's going to go back and talk about all of our hot takes, quote unquote. And, but that's just the way the Raiders roll.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to the chat here. Enamel Red in the chat. He says, Happy New Year's, Raider Cody, but this question's for Kenny King Jr. How can the secondary improve in 2021? Let's go Raiders.
Bring in some playmakers, first and foremost. A new defensive coordinator is going to significantly improve that. But the biggest thing is playmakers. You need to look at the players that you have. And the players that are there, some are young, and some just aren't really playmakers. They are guys that are high character guys. They're guys that, have been around. They know the system. They've, put in the work, but they're not guys that are playmakers. And that's the thing that the Raiders need to look at, is they need to look at some players that can make some plays, the players that can go after the ball. You had Nevin Lawson, who's great at batting down passes, but in his 6 years or 7 years of playing, he's never had an interception. You have Eric Harris, who had one of the steepest declines in play that I've seen in a long time, since Reggie Nelson, maybe. Yeah. And then you have, the corners that are young and that are showing their youth and inexperience. And I think that their physicality definitely plays into a part of their success, but at the same time, it is one of the demises. And when you have safeties that can't get to the ball, that can't cover, that can't get to, get over the top, that's where you see the deficiency. So that is one, it's a big coaching thing. If you have players that aren't able to play at a certain position, you have players that aren't able to succeed at a certain position, and you exploit them, that's on coaching. But if you have players that can't do that, that's on the Raiders, and that's on Mike Mayock and John Gruden, and needing to bring in the right talent and needing to bring in guys that are able to make some plays. So the Raiders really need to look at free agency. They need to look at some safeties. Marcus May is a guy. Richard Sherman's a guy I talked about. Those are some guys that you need to look at bringing in, spend a little bit of money on the defense, because that's where we really need it.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. We just talked about this last week on your podcast. I really want to see a veteran get signed in the secondary, and not like a veteran like a Eric Harris or a Jeff Heath or guys like that, or Darryl Worley. And no offense to those guys, but they're not the kind of veteran. Like, I'm looking for a veteran that we're going to go spend, 12, 13, 14 million a year on. Someone that's, going to be there in their prime for a few years, a top 10 safety in the league, something along those lines, where you go out there and you pay some money and get some consistency back there, and a guy that can play through it. One thing I want to know is the chat's getting wild. I should never see the word Blumpkin in the chat at all. Like, there's no reason
about
that
Cleveland
word,
Steamer.
There's that one either. There should be no reason that any of that's ever in a Raiders podcast chat. But here we are, Raider Nation, having a good time, I guess. Lost my whole train of thought. Jonathan Abram, being the big hitter that he is, I mean, he goes out there and he has that mentality. He goes out there and he wants to punish people. He wants to hit them hard, but he keeps going down every single game. At some point, do you adjust your play style and say, dude, number 24, chill out and maybe focus on other areas of your game, and try to, play a full freaking game?
Well, here's the thing about Jonathan Abram. I think that where he excels is also where he has deficiencies. Jonathan Abram is a great hitter. He's a dynamic playmaker when he's in position. But like you said, he struggles to stay on the field. A couple things that add to that. I think that where he lacks is his ability to cover and his ability to read. And so he makes up for that with his big hit ability. And where, yes, his hits are great. They often put the teams in a good position. They also put the teams in a bad position. Some of the things that Abram needs to focus on for himself is, one, self-perseverance. He needs to get through a full season. Two, he needs to take some time and really hone in on how to be not a better tackler, but a smarter tackler. He needs to be able to lead with his shoulder, not even with his shoulder because he blew his shoulder out last year, but he needs to go across the body. He needs to make sure that he wraps up when he tackles and not just go for a big hit. If he can play more fundamental, then that'll be more significant for him. But also looking at Jonathan Abram, the Raiders, whoever the new defensive coordinator is going to have to play to his strengths. He's a box safety. They don't need to be having him in coverage on a guy like McCole Hardman or a guy like KJ Hamler or somebody like that, because those are the guys that are going to make him look bad. Put him in the box, let him do what he does best, let him go in and make a play, rush the quarterback, get in against a tight end, and that's where he's going to succeed. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit on him to be smarter, to play smarter, to be physical still, but to not injure himself. And at the same time, it's on the Raiders to play him in position where he's going to succeed.
Yeah, Kenny King Jr., to wrap this thing up, where can I know you've been doing a lot more with your podcast, where can the listeners here now subscribe to your podcast?
I'm everywhere podcasts are found. So you can check me out on Apple Music, Stitcher, YouTube, Google, everywhere pretty much. But it's a Training Table podcast. I'm going to be dropping a whole lot more now that the off season's hit. I'm going to have some more guests on. We're going to be talking about, free agency. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to be talking a little bit about more about pop culture, what's going on, things around the league. So it's not just going to be Raiders football going forward. We're going to have a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. No, don't worry. I'm not talking about anybody in the AFC West unless I'm talking about the ketchup and mustard and hot dog condiments out there. But no, you check that out. You check me out on YouTube. And, of course, Cody, I know that we have our off-season schedule, so we got some stuff going out.
Absolutely. Kenny King Jr., appreciate you jumping in here weekly with me again, brother. It's been not the results on the field that we wanted to see, but I'd say we definitely had a good time, at least, doing some live shows, a little bit different for this football season. It was fun. I look forward to what this offseason brings for us, man.
No doubt, man. It's going to be an interesting ride, but at least we don't have to worry about the quarterback talk all off season.
That's it right there. That's real talk.
Kenny King, real talk.
Later, brother. Oops. Accidentally cut him off there a little bit. It's all right. Let's get into some of these phone calls. I'm going to take 3 phone callers here to wrap this up. So, there's the line. Hit the line. I'm going to take 3 calls. Like I said, 3 callers. That's it. We're going to wrap this show up and get ready for the next season, the off season, 2021. That's what we're looking towards. That's what I'm going to be focused on now. We're going to be talking about it a little bit through the postseason, and then really looking forward to. Let's see here. Let's take this. Oop, I keep opening this thing up way too big here. Let's take this first caller, 805. Where are you calling from, man? State your name.
Hey, what's up, man? Alex Mendoza, Raider Alex, 805.
805. So where in the 805 do you live, man?
Santa Maria, 15 minutes away from Pismo Beach.
There we go. So if we do the Pismo Beach watch party, you're there, huh?
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah.
Works for me. So we're wrapping up the season, bro. 8-8. How are you feeling, man? I want your final season thoughts.
You know what, man? I'm actually satisfied with the win. It was a risky move at the end, but you know, like everybody was saying, we got nothing to play for. Let's go for it. And you know, it finally worked out.
Yeah.
Going into the season, you know, when they were 6-3, I was like, yes, like the team is looking good. After that KC loss, I was still confident. I'm like, okay, you know, we're gonna take it as a win because we played them toe to toe and lost at the last minute.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? I feel like when our defense does not play good, it kind of transitions into our offense, man. Like then they get in the slump too, and I'm like, come on, man. Like
yeah.
It's stressful, but I know everybody's been bashing our defense all year, including myself. But then I think about it, I'm like, you know, a lot of these guys are young. They just probably need the right mentor / defensive coordinator to come help build the system. And let's see what goes from there. The offense is set, man.
Yeah.
Whether, you know, I did like something that Tiki Barber said in during the game. I think Carr, it was like the 2nd and 8, and Carr threw the ball at Jacob's feet. And he kind of made a good point. He's like, man, this guy had like the left side of the field to run, even to get a first down and slide for 5 yards, whatever. So I feel on Carr, maybe, you know, he kind of needs to work on not being so stiff in the pocket anymore.
Yeah.
And but he has so many targets, man. Waller, what's it called? The Aguilar, obviously, you know. I hope they cut Tyrell Williams and bring back Aguilar. I think he's like the same position as him, you know. Yeah.
Alex, 805. I appreciate you calling in, man. That's some good stuff, and I'll keep up with you on that Pismo Beach watch party in 2021.
Hey, man, I appreciate everything you do, man. Even, you know, being a loyal Raider fan, and you know, you keep these interviews and podcasts going, man. That's much love, man. Take care.
Appreciate that, man. Have a good one. Take this next caller. I do like that comment that he said about with Tiki Barber, and they did point out that, you know, it had some room to run. I feel like that was a step where, you know, Derek took a leap this year a little bit. I got a caller here sitting on hold. I'll get to you in just a second. I feel like Derek took a little bit of a leap whenever it came to that situation. You know, so I think he had a career high in rushing yards and stuff like that. I feel like this game, had he not been dealing with that groin, you know, because he's still hurt. You know he's still hurt. He's just trying to, you know, manage to make sure he doesn't pull it or strain it or do anything crazy again. I think that run maybe could have actually happened. So, second caller, state your name. Where are you calling from? Oh,
hello?
There you are. What's up?
Yo, what's going on? What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Danny from Fresno.
I know it's Danny from Fresno. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
I was gonna save you for last, but I guess this is a little early surprise.
No, it's all good, man. I was just trying to get in. I'm excited. You know what? It's a crazy game. I was like, did I just step into a time machine, like watching the game? Because
it felt like last year.
I was like, exactly. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna take this down, score, and then go for 2. But in my head, I was like, if that happens, it's gonna be so funny. Like, wow, okay, 2020 was really like that, and like 2020 stepped into 2021. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's crazy. But anyways, no, I'm hyped, man. Carr had another 4,000 yard season. Darren Waller, man, over 1,000 yards. Josh Jacobs, over 1,000 yards. The offense is in a good spot, man, and this game got me really excited because it's like no matter what, Carr threw a pick, he came right back, you know, drove the team down the field, got a touchdown, easy, like it was nothing. Same way we was doing against Miami last week too, and so I'm just excited. It was a bummer to see the defense fall apart there on that 30 and 10.
Oh,
when they
dude.
gave up that 92-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Judy.
I'm just glad that we, we're talking how it felt like last year. I'm glad that we actually flipped things around a little bit and ended the game the same way, in the same sense of last year, right? We had that chance at 2 points last year and we missed our shot. This year we hit it. That was the difference. What's weird is that's how close we were to almost feeling like we're in the same situation as last year. We missed that 2-point conversion.
Exactly.
We're 7-9. We hit it this time. We're 8-8. It's super frustrating, man. Super frustrating.
Yeah,
but those are the cards we're dealt.
Exactly. And you know what? I felt really good about the way they did it because it seemed like it was easy. The touchdown and then that 2-point conversion. It was this nice play. It was drawn up and Waller caught it right down the inside slant. It just felt good, and I was like, all right, man. I was really excited, really happy about that. So I'm looking forward to next season because the offense is in a good spot, and then we got to see Brian Edwards ball out. He had a couple of good catches, 1 touchdown, so that was nice. Renfro is, you know what? Renfro is turning into he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come, I think, and I'm glad he's on the Raiders because that man can catch the football. He can catch the football.
Yeah, he's slippery too.
And he's slippery, man, making dudes miss after the catch, yards after catch for him. I think that's one of his most valuable assets. Part of his gameplay is how he can make people miss. It's funny because he doesn't look fast, but he's elusive as heck.
Yeah.
And so he'll get yards just because he knows how to make you miss. He's always thinking one step ahead. But anyways, man, I'm not trying to go too long. Everybody knows defense. We got to shore up the defense, man, and then maybe bring in a young OC or something to help Gruden out with calling the plays next year, so he's not so scary in the crunch time. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But we need a new DC, and then we need to. I wanted to say this because I think it's been so interesting since Gruden came on. I feel like he puts all his chips in the offense. Like he goes out and spend big money to make sure the offense is good and the draft picks on offense are good and all that, but the defense, I feel like it's been a project ever since he came on. Like we're just picking up, some veterans who are not even that good and trying to, just see if they'll work or whatever. I'm like, he's just got to make a big move on defense, sign somebody big, sign some playmakers, and so we can actually have a chance. Because even if we had a middle of the pack defense this year, we'd be in the playoffs with 10+ wins.
I agree.
That's where it's got to change, man. But I'm excited to, and hopefully, finally now that Paulie is gone, hopefully we can make something happen.
100%. Danny from Fresno, bro. I appreciate you calling in, and we're still gonna keep up these live streams through the off season. We'll keep the schedule going, so keep calling in, man. Appreciate you.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ready to get it.
There we go, Raider Nation. I had a couple callers here. I think I just missed you. There you are. Okay, we got this caller on hold. Raider Andy in the chat. Raider Andy, appreciate the donation, says, let's go Raiders. Cody, keep doing what you're doing. Look forward to the next season. Will you do a live stream for the draft? Yes, I will do a live stream for the draft. I'm probably going to go live as soon as the first round is over, and then might do a live stream or something after the end of the entire draft and review everything. I think that's my plan. So it's normally like a Thursday or a Friday is round one. So I'll live stream that night, and then after the Saturday, or whatever that is, Saturday or Sunday, I forget. I'll have to look at the schedule again. But after the final round, then I'll go live and discuss the entire thing. So, Andy, appreciate the donation. Let's take this last and final caller. Got you on hold. Caller, state your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Anthony from Los Angeles area. I seriously got to get your thoughts on Trent Brown. I mean, what is he? Is he ever going to come back? Like, what's the story? Obviously, I'm happy with the Raider win. We're in a big rebuild. I've been a Raider fan since they've been in the LA area. So it's been a long time coming, and it feels like we're moving forward on something. Obviously in the last few seasons since Gruden's been back, I have faith. Yeah. Being a Raider fan, you have to have faith, as you very well know.
Yeah.
But
Trent thing, man.
What's your thought?
To get to your first part there, the Trent thing is weird to me because the situation that we're going to be dealing with is never going to be we're never going to get all the facts. The Raiders are never going to let out, even whenever they let out a reason, even all those games that he missed to start the year. We're never going to get like a true reason of why he was injured, but why was he injured? Why did he keep dealing with calf strains? Why did he look so much bigger this year than he did, the year before? We're never going to get those answers. And even with everything going on, like, the mishap with the air getting into his vein, like that was a scary situation. That was something, like he has an excuse for that, but it's like, man, it just seems like trouble's always finding this guy. And even outside of that, I felt like he should have been able to come back and even play more games than he did. And this last week just felt to me, he could have been on the field. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it was that he was going through, but it felt to me like it was the season's over. There's no reason for me to go out there and risk getting hurt. I start to wonder, is he going to even be a Raider next year? If he is, I hope so. I want him to be. If he wants to be a Raider, I want him to be a Raider, and I want him to play, 14, 15, 16 games, 17 games next year, plus postseason, right? So I forget we have that extra game. But, man, hopefully I want number 77 to work out, but it's just I get so many of these weird vibes, man. It's just it's weird to me.
Well, that's what it seems like, people that want to be on the field, like the previous caller was talking about Hunter Renfrow. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy, especially after that hit that he took, and, to get back up and to consistently make plays. You got people that are putting their bodies on the line and really making a statement for the silver and black. And it's just like, I don't know. Even when you have odds against you, aren't you still going to make yourself available? I mean, one of the biggest people is Derek. He's had all kinds of injuries his whole time, and yet he's still a 4,000-yard season. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah, even with the groin injury, basically missed a whole game. So that was good stuff.
I mean, and shout out to Mariota for stepping in, but it's like we've got to have that determination across the whole board, and so it's I'm positive, and I appreciate you doing what you're doing, and I just I want to see that kind of determination from some of these being high paid athletes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to LA Raider Nation, always coming in strong. Appreciate you calling in, man. And we're going to keep doing this throughout the off season. And hopefully we talk again soon, man.
Looking forward to it, man. Take care.
Okay, so that's going to do it for our callers. I know I had a bunch on weight. There's a lot of you guys wanting to get in here. Like I said, we're gonna keep doing this throughout the off season. There's going to be more chances to call into the show, share your opinion on what we need to do to grow this thing and change things up. So be on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Hit those bell notifications so you get all the notifications whenever I do go live. And we can keep this ship afloat and keep it rolling. So, Raider Nation, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Ending the season 8-8, not the way we wanted. Could have been worse. Could have been better. Is what it is. It's the cards we were dealt. Going into this offseason, have a little wiggle room whenever it comes to cap space. So we're going to be looking at free agents. And, of course, we have some draft picks here to work with. So we're going to see if Mike Mayock can kind of flip the script back around and get back to the draft he had a couple years ago that made a huge impact on this football team. And hopefully the 2021 offseason is the year that we do that. So, Raider Nation, appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate everybody in the chat that's always going nuts, dropping the emotion. It's been an amazing season, I guess, on this platform, not necessarily on the field. But everyone that tuned in every single game or those that just tuned in late, I appreciate you guys and all the effort that you do to, make sure you stick around and drop your opinions in there. The show doesn't keep rolling and I don't keep putting in all this effort if you guys don't do the same thing and get in there and share your opinion, because that's what this is all about. That's the reason I do the live streams, and that's why I put your comments right here up on the screen, because I want to see what you guys are talking about, and I want the rest of Raider Nation to see what you guys are talking about. So, like I said, not what we wanted on the field, but I tell you what, I'm definitely satisfied with the season. Greatest fan base in the world. Some good stuff. Yeah. Raiders! I see you in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to the moderators. It was a great season. Ivan the Great. Ivan the Great's always in there 100% of the time. Brian Beval era, you'll see him in there. Grizz Turner, he'll be in there. Yeah. All the moderators, always in there all the time. Shout out. Raider Nation. Peace on to 2021.